Greetings. This is Arvette McLean of Speak, The Universe Listens. As a very young person, I always felt that I carried the weight of the world on my shoulders, having to make grown-up decisions in order to survive a life marked with physical, sexual, and emotional abuse. While my face was smiling on the outside, on the inside, I always secretly cried and felt miserable. However, over the years, I learned some gems that helped to turn my life around. I now get to live the life of my dreams, filled with love, travel, and wonderment. And I am absolutely passionate about sharing what I have learned with you. If you want to live your best life, tune in each week as I, along with some amazing guests, share these life-changing gems with you. Inspired to be more, do more, have more. Greetings, everyone. Welcome to today's show. Today's topic is mental toning for physical transformation. And we have with us our guest, Erica Ashmead. And she actually just recently came on the show. And I wanted her back because I've been wanting to talk about the whole issue of changing our physical bodies, weight loss. And so that was a fancy way of saying we can use our brains, our minds, our thinking, our feeling in order to change our physical appearance. And so I thought she'd be a great person to come join me on this conversation because she has had some issues with weight in the past, and all of us can use a brush up on getting our bodies in check. So I just want to remind them of the businesses that you have.
Oh, sure. So my first business is Sugar and Sage Consulting, where I consult with different restaurants or caterers on their menu and culinary development. And then my other business, which is House of Lazuli, houseoflazuli.com. It's an online boutique that has home decor, kitchenware, apparel, handbags, jewelry, and it's all Afrocentric, bohemian. So that's actually launching July 1st, and I'm very excited about it. So
yeah, I'm excited about that as well. Can't wait. And I didn't mention this before, but Chef Erica actually has consulted with us. She's our consultant for our new restaurant, which is called Bateau, a coffee and wine experience. And so if you come and sample our cuisine, this is the chef behind our little delicate treats and food. So thank you for being our chef.
Oh, thank you. It's
and
a
for
pleasure.
doing the consulting for us.
Sure.
Yeah. So this whole issue of weight loss is so many people, that's probably one of the number one businesses at least in the United States in terms of physical attractiveness and body image and how to lose weight, whether it be physical fitness or whether it be diets or diet pills or supplements or anything like that.
Right. Yeah. Even I don't know if you want to touch on it, but the plastic surgery, that's $1 billion industry because everybody wants to look good, but they don't really know how or want to do the physical fitness, and along with it, the mindset change that goes with being physically fit.
So I know you've had some experience in your lifetime with weight issues. Is there anything you want to share with us?
Well, I've always been a thicker girl, growing up, probably since the age of 8, I've been a thicker girl. And it's always been a struggle, especially coming from a West Indian family. You go to visit them, they're always like, oh, you should look so big, why are you eating too much? So it was kind of hard to be a young foodie at that time, and I always wanted to watch Food Network, you know, so that kind of thing wasn't really accepted in the home. But eating healthy eating habits also wasn't taught in my home either. So that's something that you have to research and educate yourself on, and that's what I've been doing. You know, for the past few years, it's been a struggle because I love food. Like, I love to cook it. Like, even the sound of steak hitting a hot pan, I love that. But you just have to, it's all about portion control, and also, you know, having that mindset to keep pushing forward and feeding your temple the right things that it needs. So I'm all good with the eating healthy because I love salads, vegetables. It's that motivation and the thought process of actually getting up on a treadmill, going to the gym, you know, that I'm still working on that.
Yeah, sure. So I actually always thought that I had a weight issue as a young person.
Really?
Yes, I always thought that I was fat because that was kind of the feedback that I was getting, because my mother, she was a heavy woman. Really, she had big hips.
Okay.
And so everyone always say, you look just like your mom. You're going to have those big hips just like your mom. So as a little person, I always conceptualized myself as being a big person. And is that even though when I looked in the mirror, I didn't necessarily see a fat person or a heavy person, but I always felt like this was what was in my future.
Yeah.
And I kind of just accepted it, like that's just the way it's going to be. And I remember when I was 8 years old, I remember my uncle telling me that I was too fat, and that's why all the men wanted to, you know, he was like, you're going to make men want to touch you. And the truth was, grown men were touching me. And so because I put that in my head, like, oh, it's my fault because I'm fat. Right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, your body image develops at a really young age. And so long before there was any evidence that I would ever be fat, I always thought that I was.
Wow.
Yeah. But I didn't start gaining weight until I was maybe like 22 or so. I remember hitting 135 pounds, and at that time, 135 pounds, it just seemed like it was just so huge. Even though now I'm just like, okay, that wasn't that wasn't so bad, but back then it just seemed like a huge number.
Yeah.
And then it just seemed like I just kept gaining and gaining, and I was gaining like 10 pounds every year.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was getting pretty big, pretty fast.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I cannot picture that.
Yeah.
Because you're so active. So, like, what exactly did you put in place to get to where you are now?
So, you know, of course, I did everything that everyone else. I tried all the diets. I tried exercising, everything you can think of. I tried it. I was never able to shed a pound. And so I started running. I started doing marathons. And when I started running, I lost 7 pounds. But I was running for like 10 years.
Wow.
And I just didn't lose any weight. I just maintained a heavy weight. It was hard to believe that I was running as much as I was doing, because I would train for 2 marathons a year, which means I was in training approximately 8 months out of the year, like in real training, and never lost a pound.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
And so what ended up having to change was actually my mindset. And so during that time, I started realizing that, you know, it's like what you're putting out in the world, that's what's coming back to you. How you think, that's what you're creating. And so when I started realizing that whole dynamic of my thoughts are creating my reality, and then I'm looking at myself every day in the mirror saying, "Oh my gosh, you're so fat." Ugh. Like I'm just giving myself all this negative energy every single day. Every single day, I'm just telling myself, "Oh, you just look awful." So if that's what I'm putting out, that's all I could create, right? Wow. And so with understanding that that's what I was doing, but at the same time, every time I looked in the mirror, I still had that same reaction. So I was like, well, how can you flip this? Right. What can you do to flip this? And I came across this thing, and that's the thing about the universe. If you put a question out there, you're going to get an answer, you know. And I came across, at that time, I came across this thing. It was called a focus wheel. And are you familiar with a focus wheel? Yeah, so a focus wheel is like, you can just draw it on a piece of paper. You just draw a circle, and then you put like spokes in it, like it's a tire, like a bicycle tire. And in the middle, you just kind of leave that blank, and you can write down whatever it is you want. And so in the middle of the wheel, I put, I love my beautiful body. So that's what I wanted. And then on your spokes, you put things that support that. Okay. And so I would put like, you know, I love my beautiful brown skin, because I was putting things that I already love, right? So I'm like, I love my beautiful brown skin, and I love that I don't have to think about anything to make my heart beat. It'll beat on its own. I love that my legs can carry me anywhere that I want to go. So I just put things like that. I love my strong hair, and so I just put all kinds of wonderful, maybe like 8 things. And then every day I would spend some quiet time, and I would just go around the circle. Wow. Around the circle. And so I was just focusing all of my attention on that. And so in those moments, I'm just thinking about, oh, my beautiful brown skin, and my lovely hair, and, you know, my strong legs. And so I'm putting that energy of feeling good about my body. And so it eventually got to a point where I felt I was spending more energy feeling good than I was
feeling bad.
Right.
Okay. Wow.
And as a result, in 3 months, all the weight just fell off me.
3 months?
Yes. In 3 months. And it wasn't that I didn't do anything. It's that I did do something. I did take action. But I had been taking action for all these years, and nothing worked. But then once I changed my relationship with my body, with my thinking about my body, I believe anything could have worked. Yeah. And so that's in general with diets and I believe anything can work if you are in the right mindset.
Yeah. That reminds me of like Joyce Meyers, her book, The Mind is the Battlefield, where she was talking about, you know, most of the things that happen in your life first happens in your mind, and then they manifest themselves. So you have to keep that positive. Wow.
Yeah. And I mean, if you think about it, everything was created with your mind first. So no matter what, you know, like this dress you have on, somebody thought about it and then they made it. You know, the building we're sitting in, somebody thought about it and then they created it. And that's the same thing with every single thing. And a lot of times we think it's the thing that happens and then we think about it. But it's not. It's we thought about it and then the thing happens. And I think we get confused a lot of times because a lot of times our thoughts are kind of undercurrent thoughts. We're not aware that we're having certain thoughts. And, you know, we may never become aware of certain thoughts that we may be having. You know, for example, me talking about feeling like I was already going to be fat from a young person. Like, I only became aware of that because I was, like, really thinking, like, what's the root of this? Where did that come from? But it's not like that was in my conscious awareness, you know, that I wasn't consciously aware that I was thinking I'm going to be fat someday. But yet that was an underlying thought. But you don't have to go back and sift up your underlying thoughts. You just have to, from today, where am I today,
Right.
and start putting in the thoughts that
Positive.
you want.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's amazing. I have to put that into action as well. I have been doing like affirmations where I say, "Oh, I'm so happy and I'm grateful for my legs. I'm so happy and I'm grateful for my hands," and things like that, just to appreciate where my body is. No matter what the size is, it's working. So let's just thank the Lord for that. So I have been implementing that, and struggling with binge eating, and then also with gaining a lot of weight due to it. It's, at first I was like, well, how can I be a person that binge eats and a person that is upset with being fat? You know that you're doing things to cause it, but it was the bottom line was that I was trying to feed some emotional things, some mental things, and that's why I had to start with therapy to get those things out. And now my mind knows where to stop eating, when to be active, and just learning how food isn't necessarily a comfort for me anymore. Because now that I know my purpose and I'm constantly thinking about my businesses and my dreams, food isn't the be all like it was. It's now, okay, it's time to eat. Oh, I'm a little bit hungry. Take a little bit, and be satisfied. So that's totally different from how I used to be, because before I went to therapy, I had 14 donuts in one setting because I thought, oh, I'm never going to get to have donuts again. But, yeah, I just feel in a better place. Like you said, it really does start in your mind. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, and so I actually, I publicly broadcasted that I was having knee issues. So that, I actually have had ongoing knee issues, but back in October, I believe it was, it had gotten so bad that I almost couldn't even walk, right? So I was on crutches and things like that for a short period, but then just really limping around for months. And, the verdict was, well, I don't even want to say what the verdict was, but basically it was like I'm not supposed to run anymore. And so I decided to use, my mental techniques and get help from the universe in order to get my knee back to where I could run. And so, of course, I've been running now ever since February. Well, like the end of February. So I've been running. But the 5 months that I wasn't running, I was programming myself like, if you can't run, then you're going to get fat.
Wow.
And so I'm just like, I'm feeling, my mind is just taking over my will, so to speak. So my mind is just like, you can't run, and so I'm thinking of all the negatives from that. And some like, if you can't run, then you're going to get fat. If you can't run, then you're going to get fat. And mind you, I was still exercising, but I wasn't running. And so what happened? So I just started picking up weight. Then of course, the more weight I picked up, the more I'm looking like, oh, look at all these rolls of fat. And so, like just now, recently, I'm just like, you know what? I have to turn back the hands because I'm still looking at myself, giving myself that negative feedback, And so I'm like, I'm going to publicly say that I need to get my mental right so that I can get my physical right.
Right.
And so one of the things that I am going to implement, I'm going to do my focus wheel with my weight. But I actually just heard someone tell about how they wrote a letter of, I think they called it their happiness letter or something like that. So they wrote a letter to themselves of everything that would make them happy in life, and it included, a great relationship, and I think like they were saying they would lose 15 pounds, and I don't know, it had like a few things on the list, and they wrote it like this has already happened, right? So they're basically like, oh, I've met the love of my life, and she's this and she's that and she's this and she's that, and I've dropped 15 pounds and my body looks great, and so all this is in the letter, and so they're like they read the letter twice a day every day, and then like got into the feeling place of the letter. So when they're reading, it's like, and so within 30 days, everything that they had written on the letter came to pass. And he said he didn't do anything differently. And instead of losing 15 pounds in 30 days, he lost 17 pounds in 30 days. So I was like, I think I'm going to do a letter.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to do that tonight. Wow.
And then one of the things that I did a few things, but one of the things that I did as far as healing my knee, I wrote every day for 30 days. I wrote at the top of the page, my knee is healed. And then the rest of the page, I just filled it up with all the reasons why my knee was healed.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, because I love running, because I'm going to run until the day I die, and, because, I deserve to be happy, so I just wrote down everything I could think of. And probably like around day 21, I was like itching, like, oh, it's time for me to get out there. Like, I'm ready, And so it's just amazing how just putting it out there makes a difference. And I know I'm just rambling on, but the other thing I want to say is the writing it down is different from holding it in your mind.
Yeah.
So I would definitely write these things down, and when you're reading them, to feel it, not just to read it, but to feel it.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. I guess because when you're writing it, it's now tangible in some sense. Wow.
Yep.
So, with body image, like, how are you in body image now, and how do you feel like the media influenced any of the way you felt with body image?
Personally, I'm sure, like as a culture, how we feel about bodies, I'm sure that is a large part of my psyche. Now, I tend to stray away from the media. Like, I don't look at TV. Like, for me to look at TV is like, I just stay away from that. So anytime people are saying, do you know this show and that person? I don't know these people. I don't know who you're talking about. I just go along like, oh, okay. I don't know these people. So, but yes, I'm sure, like, as part of our cultural branding, sure. Yeah.
I think it is for me as well. Personally, it is the media, but also it's more so, I think, that with our culture, with our thick women, but they're more so just curvy. So, for instance, like, my body type is heavy up top and smaller down bottom, when people think that the black man would want someone heavy on the bottom, and then in maybe a Caucasian culture, they would want a woman that's heavy up top and small, and slender. So I think that the world projecting those things in magazines, music videos, and things of that nature, it makes you feel like, well, where do I stand on this spectrum? But but I've come to a realization that it's just about loving yourself the way you are, no matter what size you are. So it's really all about just being healthy, not really about size. So that took a while for me to understand that.
And I don't disagree with what you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
but I always feel like I want exactly what I want.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't like settling for, oh, as long as I'm healthy. No, I want to be healthy and I want to look the way
Yeah.
the way that I want to look.
Yeah.
You know, like I want this and that. And I feel like in a world where all things are possible, that I can have this and that. And it's all about putting it out there, what it is that you want, being clear on it, and sending that clear message, because a lot of times we're wishy-washy. And well, for one thing, a lot of times we never even identify, like, this is what we want.
Concrete,
Right.
yeah.
And then once we do identify it, in the same breath that we're saying we want it, we're saying, I don't think I can have it.
Okay.
So it's like you
Concrete,
put it out there and you take
yeah.
it back, and you put it out there and you take it back. And so, like, you have to believe that you can have it, know that it's in the field of possibilities. All things are possible. We're connected to the source of all that is, and we can tap into that at will. And it's just a matter of us knowing that and believing that. If we believe something different, then we're going to get something different. But if we believe that, then we're going to get that. And so, like with, you know, like I was saying with the weight issue, my brain went left field and was saying, if you can't run, then you're going to gain weight. It doesn't make any sense for me to even think that, because, as I say, I ran for years and never lost weight.
Right.
So how am I matching these two things up?
Right.
Doesn't even make sense. And a lot of the things, a lot of our thinking, it just doesn't make sense.
Nope.
It doesn't make sense to anybody but us. And, you know, maybe people in our sphere, but if you really examine your thought, you're like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Wow.
Yeah, so think a different thought. And it doesn't even matter if your new thought doesn't make sense, because we're creating what we think.
Right.
So create what you want.
Right.
Think what you want. Yes.
Okay. Wow. That was inspiring.
Good. Okay, so I think I wrap. You have any closing comments?
No, but I just thank you for having me again, and I hope I come back again.
Yeah, I hope you do too. And I'm really going to say thank you for coming back, and so soon, because this is a topic that I really want to talk about. Like I say, so many people have this issue, and then with me dealing with it right now, I like to put that out there, because then I guess if I can be a model, like, I'm having this issue, the same issue that so many people are having right now. And now I'm about to do these techniques that I just shared. And then let's see. You'll see my transformation.
I'm going to join you on that.
Okay.
I'm going to join you.
Okay.
Wow, I'm excited.
Yeah.
It's this new body.
Yes. So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
And I hope you got something out of this. And, you know, we talked a lot about weight, but the same concept applies to anything. So if you want to do a focus wheel, you can put whatever desire you want in the focus wheel. Or if you want to write a letter of the things that you would love, just write a letter. Or I think the other thing I mentioned was just putting at the top of the page something that you would really love to be true, and then write all the reasons why this is true. And just you taking that action and being in a feeling place. Again, it's not just words. It's, you know, you have to feel what it is you're saying, and just watch how things unfold for you. So until next time, this is Arvette.